I am money. And today I will reveal to you one of the greatest mysteries of my existence. Something that many still don't understand, but that guides all my movements, anywhere, at any time. I have a law that I never break, the law of expansion. Since I've existed, I've carried this purpose within me, to grow, to circulate, to generate movement. I was never created to remain still, stagnant, trapped in dark vaults or hearts dominated by fear. My essence is expansion. I am living energy, and all energy, to remain strong, needs flow. Think of me as the wind. If the wind doesn't blow, the air becomes heavy and suffocating. Think of me as water. If the water doesn't flow, it rots and loses its life. That's how I am. If I don't circulate, I lose my power. I don't disappear, but I weaken, I diminish, I escape in ways you don't notice. Maybe you've already felt this. When I'm trapped in fear, it feels like I'm never enough. When you guard me with fear, I seem to disappear more quickly. And do you know why? Because I only fully exist when I'm in motion. I don't distinguish between little or a lot. Even the smallest coin carries within it the law of expansion. If you release me with joy, even in small amounts, I come alive and come back bigger. But if you trap me with anxiety, I lose strength and withdraw. This law is inviolable. You can ignore it, you can try to control it, but you can never break it. I will always follow my essence, to expand. And here's something few understand. I'm not against you. I've never been the enemy. I just reflect the way you treat me. If you see me as scarce, I become scarce. If you see me as flow, I become abundance. The choice is always in your hands. So I want you to understand. I was not made to be kept in fear, but to be moved with confidence. I was not born to be imprisoned, but to circulate, generate opportunities, open doors. I do not grow in the silence of stagnation, but in the sound of circulation, in the gesture of someone who believes there is always more to come. I am money. And as long as you believe in the law of expansion, I will be there. Because that's the one law I never break, the one promise I always keep. When I circle, I grow. But now I need to show you something I see every day. Something that saddens me deeply. The greatest pain is when you imprison me. Yes, you hold me in fear, as if I would run away from you. You keep me in safes, in drawers, in accounts you never use. It doesn't release me. It doesn't let me move around, as if the act of staying still was a form of security. But the opposite happens. The more you hold me back, the smaller I become. I feel the weight of your anxiety as you hold each coin, as if it were your last. I feel the tension in your hands when you pay for something and think, will there be any left? I feel the fear in your heart when you believe that if I leave, I will never come back. And this energy drives me out, diminishes me, prevents me from flourishing. I cannot thrive in environments of fear. I cannot grow in minds that believe life is only loss. And I cannot remain in hearts that treat me as a scarce commodity, as if I were fragile, limited, condemned to end. It's painful for me to see you live this way, because I know how abundant it could be in your life. I know how much I could multiply, open doors, create opportunities. But instead, I'm suffocated. You turn me into a burden, into worry, into scarcity. And the worst part is that you think you're protecting me. You think, if I don't spend, if I hold on, I'll have more. But you don't realize that the act of holding me back blocks the flow of my own essence. It's like trying to trap the wind in a box. The air becomes still, heavy, lifeless. It's like stopping the blood in a vein. The body becomes sick. That's how I am. When you block me, I weaken. This is the great pain, seeing that you desire me, but at the same time repel me. Seeing that you dream of abundance, but imprison me in the fear of scarcity. And every time he acts like this, I disappear a little more. Not because I want to punish you, but because I cannot exist where there is no movement. I am money. And the pain I carry is knowing that you could have so much more of me, but you choose to keep me trapped, still, diminished. And until that changes, until you learn to release me with confidence, I will always be small in your life. Now I want you to listen carefully, because here is the truth that can completely change your relationship with me. I only grow when I circulate. Yes, that's exactly it. I don't increase when I stand still. I do not blossom when I am kept in fear. I do not multiply when I am imprisoned. I am like the blood in your body. I need to flow to generate life. If the blood does not circulate, the body becomes ill. If money do not circulate, your financial life weakens. My law is clear: expansion. And expansion only happens in movement. When you use me consciously, with joy, with trust, I find new ways to return. When you release me generously, I rush to open unexpected doors. And when you spin me in the flow of giving and receiving, I become abundance multiplied. See, it doesn't matter the amount. It could be a coin, it could be a note, it could be a large amount. What matters is the energy with which you move me. If you send me into the world with fear, I will disappear. But if you send me with joy, I will return greater. Because every time I circulate, I find new ways to multiply myself. I am like the wind. I only fully exist when I move. I am like water. I gain strength when I run in rivers, not when I stagnate in puddles. I am like energy, always seeking the next point of expansion. When you donate, when you invest, when you pay something back with gratitude, you activate the law of expansion. You make space for me to return, accompanied, multiplied. And the more you trust this flow, the stronger it becomes. Scarcity tries to deceive you, saying, hold, keep in fear. But abundance whispers the truth. Freedom, circulate, trust. Because money, always return when I am honored in the movement. And here's what few understand. I don't just want to be accumulated. I want to be multiplied. I don't just seek to be held back. I seek to flow. Because every time you move me, you make room for me to grow. I am money. And this is my revelation. When you let me flow, I always find my way back. And I never come back the same. I come back bigger, stronger, more abundant. Now is the time to turn what you heard into practice. Because it is not enough to understand the law of expansion. You need to activate it in your life. And this happens through simple but powerful gestures. I want you to do this. Choose a small amount. It could be a coin forgotten in your pocket, a low-value note, something that seems almost insignificant to you. This amount will be your seed for expansion. Hold it in your hands. Look at her with respect, with gratitude, with joy. It doesn't matter if it's small. Remember, expansion doesn't depend on quantity, but on energy. While holding this value, close your eyes and take a deep breath. Feel his energy vibrating. See it not as what it is now, but as a fertile field ready to multiply. Now declare with me in a firm voice, I release money with joy, and it returns multiplied. Repeat 3 times, each time with more conviction. First, allow the fear to go away. On Monday, feel confidence take over your heart. In the third, see before your eyes the clear image of return abundant, unexpected, multiplied. And then donate that amount. It could be for someone in need, for a cause you believe in, or even as a symbolic offering of gratitude. The important thing is that when you release, you do so with joy. Smile while delivering. Bless the path this money will take. And know, he will find his way back to you, bigger, stronger, multiplied. This ritual is not just about giving, but about breaking the chains of fear. It's about proving to the universe and to yourself that you trust the flow. That you know that every exit is just a preparation for a greater return. Practice this often. No matter the value, care about the energy. Make the act of releasing a gesture of power, not loss. And each time you repeat it, you will reinforce within yourself the truth of expansion. I am money. And I promise, every time you release me with joy, I will return multiplied. This is the covenant. This is the law. This is the secret of endless abundance. That's exactly what happened to Patricia. She lived in constant financial difficulty. Every month seemed like a challenge. The bills arrived before her salary was enough, and the feeling of scarcity took over her heart. Whenever money came into her hands, she held me in fear, believing that if I left, I would not return. This fear was so strong that it prevented her from even making small gestures of generosity. But one day, Patricia heard about my immutable law, the law of expansion. At first, she doubted. How to free up money if you already had so little? How could you donate something if you could barely meet your own needs? But inside her, a soft voice whispered, "Trust. The flow needs to be activated." It was then that she decided to give it a try. He chose a simple coin, one of those that previously went unnoticed at the bottom of his purse. He held it in his hands and for the first time looked at me not with fear, but with gratitude. He took a deep breath and declared with conviction, "I release money with joy and it returns multiplied." With a smile on his face, he handed that coin to a man who was asking for help on the street. For the first time, he didn't feel guilt, he didn't feel fear, felt lightness. And that lightness opened the way for me. In the following days, Patricia repeated the gesture. Small coins, small notes, delivered with love, always accompanied by a declaration of expansion. And something started to change. She, who previously saw only lack, began to feel confident. And money responded immediately. Within a few weeks, a longtime client who had disappeared returned and signed an unexpected contract with her. Then, an opportunity for extra income arose at his job. And as if that wasn't enough, he received a raise that wasn't even in his plans. Suddenly, Patricia's rent doubled. It was no coincidence. It was the law of expansion in action. Fear had blocked the flow for so long, but trust and generosity opened the floodgates of abundance. Today, Patricia continues to practice the ritual. She understood that it doesn't matter how much you donate, but the energy you release. And each time I do this, I find new ways to return to it, greater, multiplied, abundant. I am money. And Patricia's story is living proof that when you release me with joy, I always come back, and I come back multiplied. And now I must announce to you that which never fails, the promise I have carried since my creation. If you release me today, tomorrow I will return multiplied. This is not just a motivational phrase. It is a law as real as gravity, as constant as the sunrise. Because I am money and my essence is expansion. I don't know how to diminish when I am honored. I only know how to grow when I am freed. You see, every time you trap me with fear, you create invisible walls. But each time you release me with joy, you create channels for me to return. And in these channels, I don't return alone. I return accompanied, carrying new opportunities, people, proposals, financial miracles that you could never imagine. Understand this. When you use me with awareness and gratitude, I transform into seeds. Every penny released with faith is a seed planted in fertile soil. And just as a seed never returns just one grain, but a whole harvest, I also never return the same size. I come back bigger, multiplied, abundant. Today, I say to you, look at what you have in your hands, no matter how small it may seem. By releasing with confidence, you are already signing up for your next harvest. And this harvest can come as an unexpected bonus, a gift, a new client, a creative idea, an opening door. The how doesn't matter because I have infinite ways. What matters is the energy you release when you trust the law of expansion. Make no mistake, scarcity is always the result of fear, and abundance is always a consequence of trust. If you hold me anxiously today, you will continue to see little. But if today you release me with joy, be prepared. Tomorrow you will see a lot. This is my prophecy for you. The money you release today will be the multiplied money you receive tomorrow. There is no chance, there is no luck, there is only the law. And the law is clear. I am money, and I always multiply when I circulate. So choose now. Will you continue to bind me, diminishing my strength, or will you free me, opening the way for rivers of abundance. Because the decision is yours, but the promise is mine. If you free me today, tomorrow I will be knocking on your door, multiplied, abundant, faithful. I am money. And this is my prophecy.